I was raised in a foundation, of God first, but along with therapy and learning how to cope and having a purpose, it really, really makes a difference. Most importantly, love God, love yourself, and you'll learn how to make it because it's hard. I mean, it's really hard just dealing even with day to day. So adding trauma on top of that, it can be unbearable. And it's a true test of faith. Oh my God, it's so important. Like, I just look at it as gratefulness. Every day I tell God I'm grateful, even if it's just a second. I don't care if I'm about to eat a french fry, a burger. God, I'm so grateful.
Hi, and welcome to another episode, another season of the Woman Witness podcast on the Woman Witness TV network. I'm your host, Leah Fortier. Here on this platform, we bring to you women of resilience, women of strength, women entrepreneurs who are making a difference in their lives and the community around them. Here on this platform, we bring to you voices of women that are out there making a positive impact on their lives and in the community around them. In today's episode, I am so pleased to bring to you Miss Ketrina Mitchell. Ketrina Mitchell, she's going to talk to us about how we can rise and build and empower one another, both ourselves and our generation coming behind us. Join us in this episode as we explore the journey of transforming your pain into purpose. And Ketrina's going to talk to us about overcoming something unimaginable, a loss of a partner, and also founding a youth nonprofit dedicated to creating a brighter future for others. This is more than just a business. It is a healing journey through leadership, faith, and the power of community. I am so excited to introduce to you my guest today, Ms. Ketrina Mitchell. Hey, Ketrina, welcome to the.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here.
Well, I'm excited to have you. I'm excited to have you. And I thank you for coming on and being vulnerable and sharing your story and sharing your truth. And I know I kind of set the stage of what we'll be talking about today. But before I go ahead and get started, let me just kind of give you the floor a little bit. And can you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who Ketrina is?
Absolutely. I'm known actually as Coach Ketrina. I have a nonprofit organization called IBDOL that my late husband and I started back in 2010. And I say late husband because he lost his battle with cancer a few years back. But we have been able to successfully have this nonprofit organization, and we serve youth aged 5 through 17. So we have year-round youth programs. We offer after-school programs, summer camps, basketball training, dance training, you name it, we do it here at IBDOL.
Oh, wow. Is that something that you guys always wanted to do, something that you talked about? What encouraged you to get that started?
The way we started, honestly, was out of his diagnosis. It's the craziest thing because when we started dating, he was actually diagnosed with ALL, which is a bone cancer, a few months after we started dating. So you can just imagine, you're dating this guy and having all this fun and we're going places and we really developed a very strong friendship. And suddenly, out of just pain and going to the doctor, he realized he had cancer. So at that point, I mean, faith definitely just kicked in for both of us. And we had to reach down deep and say, you know what? We have some life decisions to make. So fast forward from his diagnosis, we end up getting engaged about a few months later, and we got married a year later after we started dating. We had to change gears. We both were in corporate America. He was playing basketball. He was training basketball on the side. He was working probably 2 or 3 jobs at the time. I'm full time corporate America as well. And it got to a point with all of his treatments and the things that he was going through medically. It's like we can't uphold these schedules anymore. Like we have to make a life change. And so it was pretty much a conversation in our kitchen, like, okay, what can you do? What do you love? What are your passions? So from that conversation, for me, it was starting businesses, helping youth. I had started youth programs previously dealing with the art side and the dance side, and his passion was basketball. So we put the two together with his coaching experience, playing and training experience. My experience was starting businesses, corporations, and with youth as well. And we merged the two together, and that's how I Beat All was born. I Beat All was formed out of I beat acute lymphocytic leukemia. That's how the name came
Oh,
because we always, since the diagnosis, it was we're going to beat this. Like, this isn't going to stop us. It may change gears, but it's not going to stop us. And so the acronym IBALL fit perfectly
yeah.
because it's I play basketball. I teach basketball. Basketball is the vehicle that we use to initially introduce our youth program.
Oh my goodness. What a
Yes.
phenomenal
That's the short story.
story.
Yes.
Katrina, wow. So out of that pain and that grief was birthed
Yes.
something so great that is still working years later.
Years later. Years later.
Wow.
He actually went through treatment. He beat it 3 times. And on that fourth time, it was God's timing. And I think from there, I think I might have been out of the program for 2 weeks and I got right back in it because at that point, I have to uphold what we stand for, which is I beat all. We don't let anything stop us. And by now, fast forward to 2018, I have thousands of kids that
Oh,
have gone through the program over the course of a decade that are looking at me like,
wasn't
we
it?
just can't stop. Yeah, there's no stopping. There's no giving up.
Wow, I can take that and really dissect it. But before I do, I want to talk more about what. So I love the concept and the business
Yes,
idea and the fact that you guys were able to come together and form this together for a greater purpose.
yes,
Now, after losing your husband, I can't even imagine the grief that you have felt and that you had to endure. You said you only took 2 weeks and you jumped right back out there.
yes.
How did it affect you personally and professionally?
Well, personally, here's another side to the story.
Mm.
I lost my mother to colon cancer.
Oh,
So I'm a two-time caregiver, two-time, and I call myself a cancer survivor. By losing my mom at such a young age, I was around 16 years old.
mm.
So for about 2 to 3 years, I was the person primarily in the home with her, youngest of 4 children. And all of a sudden, you're a teenager, and your mother's diagnosed with cancer. You don't even know what cancer is. Like, what is cancer?
Right, right.
So again, the grief was in different stages because number one, I had dealt with this before. However, this is an entirely different capacity. So now
Right.
you have this one major trauma event. Now you have another major trauma event, but the difference was I had my community. I had my eyeball family surrounding me. And again, it was the children. It's the children and the youth that are in the organization that keep me going. So while personally, I mean, grief is ongoing, right? Grief is different stages. It was some days I came into the facility and I cried and they just embraced me and told me it was okay. And it
Yeah,
was other days that it fueled me, and it made me just go faster, go harder. Like, okay, no, we're gonna get another program. We're gonna keep this. Like,
yeah,
it just ignited that fire in me. So it affected me personally because, and transparently, which I wanted to be totally transparent, I believe in therapy wholeheartedly. Uh,
yeah.
First is a relationship with Christ. My husband was a huge believer. Like, he had the strength and the faith of I've never seen before in my life. Uh,
Mm,
he slept with the Bible beside his bed. He read his Bible every day. He would go to church and I wouldn't even go to church. Uh,
mm.
so by
Yeah,
seeing his faith and his strength, I was raised in a foundation, of God first, but along with therapy and learning how to cope and having a purpose. It really, really makes a difference.
Yeah. You know what? I agree with that, Katrina. And, I think the worst thing that we could do to ourselves, and we don't really know it, but the thing I feel like the enemy keeps us bound and keeps us trapped with, he takes that hurt, that trauma, that shame, that guilt, and we hold it inside.
Yeah.
And that gets heavy over time, and we have to let that go. I thank you for your transparency and talking about that, because I don't think that we talk about it enough in our communities.
I don't think so either. I think it's become a little cliche when people talk about healing, right? Everybody's
Yeah.
on a healing journey. But what I want people to understand is that journey doesn't have a stop sign.
Mm.
And it's my belief that we're going to constantly evolve, constantly grow, and constantly heal. You're never going to be 100% completely healed. But I do believe by taking the steps and starting that healing journey, you'll learn how to cope and how to manage. Most importantly, love God, love yourself, and you'll learn how to make it, because it's hard. I mean, it's really hard just dealing even with day to day. So adding trauma on top of that, it can be unbearable. And it's a true test of faith.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness. What was the turning point for you that helped you decide to continue pursuing? I know you said the kids, but to continue pursuing this entrepreneurial and nonprofit goal despite the pain that you're experiencing?
I think a turning point what for me, because I think because I'm in it,
Yeah.
sometimes I don't realize its impact. So I think when I had people outside of my organization and community, it's almost like how you see numbers, right, on a piece of paper. You have to see black and white.
Yeah.
So when numbers were crunched, they actually showed me, like, wait a minute, do you realize this is how many kids have been in this program? Like, do you realize kids that started at age 7 are now 23?
Oh,
Like, it's when I think when it was shown to me, it was like, how can you give up, Trina? Like, this has been over a decade of your life's work. Like, you've poured into this organization. How do you stop? It's almost, for me, I felt at times it would be a slap in the face to God, right? Because God
mm,
gives us gifts, He gives us talents. All of that comes from Him. So how dare I? It's almost like, how dare I be ungrateful and say, oh, God, I know you gave me all this, but whatever, I just don't want to do it. To me, that's not an option. It's not an option.
oh my goodness! You just brought me back to the parable of the talent, right? The parable of the talent,
Mhm.
when the master went out and what they did with their talents.
Yes.
Wow, Katrina, that was.
Oh my God, it's so important. Like, I just look at it as gratefulness. Every day I tell God I'm grateful. Even if it's just a second. I don't care if I'm about to eat a French fry, a burger. God, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that you kept me, because He
Yeah.
doesn't have to, right?
No.
Gratefulness. So that's my pivotal moment, when I realized how grateful I was, when I realized how I could have left here. Like, again, dealing with loss of mom, abandonment issues, just the childhood trauma, carrying that over to adulthood, making a choice to actually build a life with someone with cancer, with a terminal disease.
Mm.
That can take people out, honestly.
Yeah.
And so, because God spared me and He saved my life, it's like, how dare I? How dare I not walk in my purpose?
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. I love the way that you put that. I'm sorry. I've even done a little, I talk about this in one of my books. I've done a podcast episode about the talent, but the way that you put it really put it into perspective for a lot of us, even for me. Like, sometimes we want to give up, but and that's your talent. By you giving up and saying, I'm not going to do this because I don't feel worthy enough to do it, I'm not smart enough, I'm not pretty enough, I can't do it, that is the same thing as abandoning your talent.
Yeah, and all those, and don't get me wrong, all of those things
Yeah.
happen, right? I have all of those thoughts, I have all of those feelings, but it's just the love of God. We have to allow Him to take over. And I'm learning that. I'm still learning every day. And sometimes, even in therapy, My therapist will say, well, okay, so you're basically fussing at yourself. You told me all the things you've done wrong. You told me all the negative thoughts. Now tell me give me some saving grace. Like, tell me what you've done, like, correctly. Tell me how God has blessed you. Tell me how He's kept you. Like, give me three things that you're grateful for. So it's the constant reminders. It's who you surround yourself with. It's what you internalize. All of those things play a factor. It's so important.
Wow, that's so good. I like that. I like that. So, how do you find balance during those times of grief, Katrina? And you mentioned this childhood trauma, and let's not negate that, because I do believe that a lot of us. I think you even wrote this in your inquiry form. A lot of us carry that baggage with us.
We do. Again, it's something I struggle with, but I learned to manage it by actually getting outside, whatever environment that I'm in, and I feel those thoughts creeping in. I feel that sadness. It's almost like a weighted blanket, right? And it starts to get heavy, and you start to
Yeah.
get a little too warm. I break away from it. For me,
Mm,
it's been
mm,
focusing on my health. It's been exercising. It's been walking. I bought a bike. I ride my bike. I get out and I walk and I hike. So it's finding things that give you peace and that release. And for me, it's a lot of times it's just fresh air. It's just fresh air. It's journaling. It's writing your feelings out. Sometimes it's voice recording. Sometimes I record myself. And I
mm.
say, you know what, let me just talk or, cry or sing or whatever I need to
Yeah.
do to get it out. So it's all about getting that release. You have to release it. You have
Yeah.
to release. Yeah.
I like that. So yes, if you are on that fence and you can't get to a therapist, if you can't sit down and just close your eyes and talk to God, you ain't got to close your eyes, but get on that bike, like Trina was saying, go outside and just have that
Absolutely.
conversation. He's
Absolutely.
listening.
And those things are free. I mean,
Come on,
yeah,
that's true.
yeah.
Oh, tell me, how has your purpose or your passion changed as a result of your experiences with grief and trauma? If so, then how?
It's given me purpose, if that makes sense. Before, I don't think I had a purpose. I,
Mm,
I think that finding your purpose is so important. And I think for me, it's put in a perspective of when it's my time to leave the earth, I want to leave behind my own legacy. I want to have made an impact. I've never wanted to be a person who was regular 9 to 5, go to work, come home, eat dinner, repeat. I've never I've never wanted to be that woman. So I
mm,
always knew that God had something greater destined for me.
yeah.
So for me is after his passing, it was building my own legacy, making sure, because I've never had children. That's another part of it. So
Mm,
making sure I left behind, you know what, they had something to say. When they talk about me, I want them to have something meaningful to say. I want them to say, you know what? She was impactful. She helped others. She served others. She was selfless. Those things matter to me. That's what matters. So,
oh, that's good. Katrina. Can I just add and piggyback on that real quick? Because I think that's where a lot of us, honestly, I feel like that was for me. I don't know when, yeah, maybe probably 2020. Let's be clear, when all of us had to sit down and we asked ourselves, what is our purpose, right? A lot of us are looking for our purpose in life. But I love what you said about what you have the pencil. You can write your narrative.
you
You
can.
can write what people say about you.
And guess what? You can rewrite it. I
Yes, you
think that as
can.
you get older, you're not 21 anymore. You're in your 30s, your 40s. It's almost like society makes you think that if you haven't accomplished a certain thing by a certain age, you're not worthy.
Mm,
I hate that narrative.
yes.
You could have had this plan, but guess what? God changes plans all the time.
Yeah, he does.
So you had to pivot. And so now you have this plan. Maybe that didn't work out so well. Then I have to pivot again. So
Yeah.
that's what I want women to realize. You don't have to be stuck in anybody's box. You can change your mind. You can change yourself. You can reinvent yourself. there's truly no stopping you. It's not. You just have to tap into what your purpose is, and that could change.
I like that. And it's okay to change. Don't let
It's
nobody tell you any
okay.
different.
It's okay.
Okay, you talk about your spiritual your journey and your background, and you said that your late husband, he was big on the spirituality. Tell us, how has your faith and your spiritual beliefs guided you through some of those darkest moments of grief and
Whew.
rebuilding your legacy?
I know for a fact my faith has kept me. I know for a fact. I know how powerful God is. I know that He's the author. I know that I don't wake up without Him. I don't go to sleep without Him. I
Mm,
know that. So that's never been a question to me. So I look at God in a relationship as if I'm His actual daughter. Like I take that seriously.
mm,
So and it's like for Him to love me so much, I look like Trina. How dare you? Like how dare you think about giving up, taking your own life,
mm,
hurting yourself, succumbing to this pain, staying in the bed all day, sitting in depression. Like,
mm,
how dare you? He loves you so much. He created you and he's keeping you. So
mm,
while he's keeping you, he's looking at you as you're worthy enough to be kept, daughter. Like I love you. I have other things, bigger things in store for you. So it's almost like how dare I disrespect God? How dare I disrespect my father? So
mm,
my faith, it makes me look at it in that way. And I think by me looking at God as truly my father, that has helped me with my personal journey. It's kept me. It's truly kept me because of the way I look at the relationship. He's the first one to ever love me. I came from God, like, and it almost makes me tear up, like, because it's so powerful. Like, a love like that, a love to where I don't care how many times I mess up, he's still gonna love me.
mm,
You
mm,
mess up with people, you mess up in relationships, you mess up in friendships, you mess up on your job. People toss you away. People don't give second chances. But God forgives and forgives and forgives and loves us and keeps blessing us.
mm, 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 mm.
That just, yeah, it gets me choked up just thinking about it.
Yeah,
It just gets me choked up. Like, how dare I
yeah.
not do my best while I'm here?
Let me ask you something, Katrina. What would you say to those women, maybe men who are listening, who just don't believe it? They don't believe that God will can forgive them.
I would tell them because I know the spirit of self doubt. I know it personally. I know how it can have a chokehold on you. I know that it's real. So first, let me acknowledge to those out there that are experiencing that feeling. Those out there that are experiencing that feeling, first of all, I see you, I hear you, and what you're feeling is real. And I just challenge you just to give him a try. That's all. Try to pray, have a regular conversation with God. Do it on a consistent basis and look around at what you do have. Stop focusing so much on what you don't have. You may not have the best house, the best car, the best job, like where you want to be right now, but what do you have? And where do you think that came from? And also, your situation could probably be worse. And I know that that can be, well, I know, other people are going through things and that can be kind of cliche, but it's really true.
Yeah,
Really, really true. So I just encourage those men, those women to just try him. Look
yeah,
at what you do have, show gratefulness, thankfulness. Look at your situation, how you can change your situation. What can you maybe do more of? What can you try that you haven't tried before? Try to have just conversations with God. There's not a blueprint, a formal plan. You don't have to say, Our Father who art in heaven. You don't have to do that. Just
right.
like, my God, I need your help. Sometimes my prayer is just, God, you know my heart, I need you.
Mm,
I'm grateful. Let me add first, thank you for waking me up. I'm
mm,
so grateful. Thank you for feeding me. I'm so grateful. But I need your help. Sometimes it's just a cry. So I just encourage those out there that are going through right now to
mm,
just try him.
mm,
Just try him. Just try to have that conversation.
I like that. Katrina, tell us what was your go-to story or your go-to scripture that got you in some of those that got you up out that bed when you didn't feel like getting up?
My scripture was actually the book of Exodus. I'm really, really focused on the book of Exodus.
I like
And the scripture, and I know you know this, you only have to be silent.
that. Yes.
God will fight your battles for you. You only have to be silent. A lot of times we get fixated with I have
Mm,
to do this, and I do, especially as an entrepreneur, right? Our to-do lists are so long. I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this. And sometimes we just need to stop. Just stop and be still.
mm,
And maybe not respond to that person, maybe not respond to that email, maybe not respond
mm,
to that situation so suddenly. Give it a minute. Try to listen to God. Give God a chance. So I would say that that's my go-to, and that was my husband's favorite scripture in Exodus. You
mm.
only have to be silent. God
Yeah.
will fight your battles. You only have to be silent. And I think a further breakdown of that scripture is your silence shows God that you have faith. Faith
That's,
isn't loud. You can't see faith. You can't hear faith. You can't touch faith. But you're showing God that you have faith in your silence. So when I sit back and say, God, I give it to you, I've shown God that I truly trust him. I don't care about what's going on around me. I'm going to stop. I'm going
mm.
to trust him.
Oh my goodness, Katrina, I love that. I get so excited thinking about the book of Exodus. And I know it's not everyone's favorite, but I love it because it's a book about deliverance and freeing the children of Israel. I want everybody to go read it. And
Closing, it's closing once it's moving. It's movement. It's
yeah,
moving forward. It's leaving things behind. It's so prolific. Like when you, it's hard, right? Like you said, a lot of, like when it starts off and it's giving you, the lands and the places, and then
yeah.
it's hard. But when you think about the big picture,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be ready to leave the old things behind
Mm-hmm.
and walk forward. It's
Oh,
all about forward movement, moving forward. We can't be stuck. Again, stuck in that anxiety, stuck in that depression,
yeah.
stuck in that place of sadness.
Mm.
You got to be ready to move forward.
Okay, that's good, Katrina. Can I just say this one, and I'm gonna get off of it because I want y'all to go read it. But you said you start your prayers off with thanking God, and I believe that God is so amazing because He gives us something to be thankful for. As you said, this whole entire time gives you something to be grateful for, and He wants you to remember that. In the book of Exodus, God tells Moses to mark this place and to teach your children about how I delivered you from the Egyptians, and it's a place. So I want anybody who's going through something, who can't get up and who is stuck, I want you to remember, like Katrina said, what God has done for you in your life, and use that to fuel your moving and getting back on your knees and saying, God, help me get up out of this depression. Help me get up out of this pain and the shame. So that, I love that. Go check out, read the book of Exodus. Let us know your thoughts. You just brought me back, Katrina. I want to go back and read it. I'm getting excited all over again. I mean, it's a long book, but listen, you'll be delivered.
And
Okay.
look, here's the hack. I was searching the other day, and I said, I went to YouTube, and I was like,
Mhm.
let me search. I don't know if I Googled or YouTube, and I was like, let's break down the book of Exodus. A video
Mm.
came up. So I mean, there's little hacks you can do.
Yes.
Little things you can, websites and things like that. You can go
Yeah.
to, kind of breaks it down, so makes it
Yep.
a little easier to read. So definitely check it out.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you. You're right about that
yeah,
because it is hard. It's hard to read.
yes, yes.
Okay, so tell us what your hopes and your dreams for the future for your business and your nonprofit and what you're doing.
So my hope and my dream for the future is continuance and growth.
Mm,
I want to be able to serve more. I want to be able to make a bigger impact. It's all about growth at this point because I would be doing a disservice if I didn't figure out ways to serve more youth. Youth are in such a crucial time right now, just with what's going on in the world with social media. I want to provide a safe space where they know they have people that they can talk to. They get wise counsel. If they're ever in need, they have somewhere for them to go. So it's all about the future to me is about growth, developing more programs, bigger facility, just being able to serve more youth. Those are my plans for the future.
And Ketrina, I love your page and everything that you're doing and pouring into these kids. And I see you at a lot of is it the WNBA games, right?
Yes,
And
yes. So I
you're
serve
talk
on
to
the
us about
board. Yes, I serve on the board with Renee Montgomery. Of course,
that.
she is now an entrepreneur businesswoman, but she played in the professional basketball league that she played in the WNBA. So I would go to all of the games, do interviews, make sure the fan experience was good, and be able to show the girls and the boys in my organization just that professional basketball feel. So that was just a blessing. That's a blessing in itself, just to be a
Yeah.
board member with Renee Montgomery. It's huge, huge, huge blessing.
I love the WNBA. Literally, once upon a time, I thought I was going to be a basketball. Yeah, didn't happen. Thought I
Okay.
was. It didn't happen though.
Okay,
But
okay, okay.
I love everything that they're doing, and I love the impact that they're making
Yes,
right now. Just
yes,
blazing the trail with our young women coming out of college and going into the WNBA. And I know
yes.
this is not, well, you said you served on board, but can you talk to us a little bit about that? Talk to us about your experience doing that and the impact that you have seen and the growth that you've seen over time in the WNBA.
First of all, I can honestly say that's something else that is kind of overwhelming because to see where we come from, just
Yeah.
as women in sports, to now we're packing out arenas. So even to be in the arena and looking around, and Atlanta Dream had the most sold out games in the league. So to look around and you see, I mean, and the fans, we're not talking a specific color, age
No.
range. You see young fans, older fans, different races, nationalities, it doesn't matter. And they're all screaming for these women that are being able to play the game that they love.
Yeah.
And we're not all the way there yet, of course, monetarily. But I just love the fact that such a positive light is shined on women. And again, we're not all the way where we need to be or where we deserve to be, but just to see the impact that women have made, it's almost like our viewership even has went up. We're up there with the men. Like people are excited. Men are excited
Yeah.
to see these women play. And again, just to see just the light that's shining on them, I love it. I absolutely love it. The energy is amazing in those arenas.
Oh my gosh, I can only I need to get out to one. I'm over here in LA. I need to get out on
We
one.
have to make that the sparks. You have the sparks.
Yeah, I know. I haven't
Yeah.
now. Gosh, I haven't been to any games. I got a little.
We have to make that happen. I'm gonna have to
I
fly
need
there, and
to.
we're gonna have to go to a game together.
Let's do it. Let's
Yes,
do it.
yes.
My gosh, I need to get back. Need to get back out there. I love everything that you do. I want everybody to go follow Ketrina, go to her social media, see all the amazing things that she's doing. And how can we, support your program, Ketrina? If someone's listening right now, they want to pour into your program or partner with you, how can they go about doing that?
Yes, you can go to our website. It's www.ibeatall.org, or you can go to our social media channels. Any channel, it's ibeatall44. And you can actually give online through our website. But more importantly than monetary, give your time. If you're ever in the South Atlanta area, come by, see the kids, check in, come just give a positive word. So again, monetarily, you can definitely donate through our website, and all donations are tax deductible. However, if you're in the South Atlanta area, come see us. Our facility is at 1550 Sonoya Road in Tyrone.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you so much for that.
Thank you. This has been a pleasure. I love your show and I love what you're doing. I love the platform and just having a positive place for women to come and just be comfortable and be transparent. I love that. And I pray that God continue to bless you in your work.
Oh, thank you so much, Virginia. That means so much. I never thought a million years that this is what God had in store, but I'm so grateful because I get to meet amazing women like yourself,
Thank you.
and just I mean I can't find the words. I want to say this real quick.
Okay.
Did you say you wrote a book?
I'm
No.
writing a book, but I do have an ebook out, and
Okay.
it's how to be a youth coach. So it's giving tips. If anybody wants to get into the coaching field, then I'm going to give you the basics and the fundamentals that you need to know, and that's located on the website as well.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, yes,
Oh, yeah, we gotta talk to you about that.
yes,
Okay, good. She's gonna get that going. So you guys are gonna be able to catch her on that book. So
yes, yes.
I will list all Ketrina's information in the description below. Ketrina, thank you so much for coming in and
For having
pouring
me.
at this
Thank you.
well. You have filled me up. I just love your spirit. You're just it's contagious, like literally. I feel like anybody who is stuck and who is thinking about wasting your talents, don't do it. It is not worth it. You
Don't
have
do
to
it.
go.
Don't give up.
No.
Don't give
Yeah.
up.
Yes, we need you. Okay. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Woman Witness Podcast, Stories at the Well. I'm your host, Leah Fortier. And perhaps you were chosen for such a time as this to write, to tell your story, your truth. Until next time. Bye.